Welcome. I'm your host, Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity. 7 ways why Rouse of Orneriness destroying unrealized cowardice. And this admittance allowed me to liberate me from me. I'm awakened and aware my omnipotent orneriness destroys unrealized cowardice because it refuses to play small, instantly sparks my warrior gumption that rises when inherited silence, emotional suppression, and fear-based obedience tries to keep me contained in the mundane, as cowardice often hides behind politeness, passivity, tradition. As Ornery Defiance says, I see the script, I never perform the script. It's never rebellion for rebellion's sake. It's the instinct to claim my veracity voice, confront inherited hesitation, and choose bold visionary veracity, destroying quiet survival mode programming and comfort zone programming. Why destroying unrealized cowardice dissolves social obedience, energetically liberating me. Fear is a glue that binds compliance. Unrealized cowardice keep you tethered to approval, conformity, and the need to fit in. When you dissolve that fear, the invisible leash of social obedience snaps. You stop asking, is this acceptable, and start asking, is this veracity to me? Liberation begins where programming ends. Social obedience is often inherited, coded into your nervous system by culture, family, and survival instinct. Destroying cowardice interrupts that loop, freeing your energy from outdated scripts. You claim your autonomy, no longer reacting from fear, but responding from clarity. Courage sparks energetic sovereignty. When you own your inner bravery, your energy stops leaking into people pleasing and self censorship. You become energetically sovereign and an autodidact entrepreneur as your choices, voice, and presence radiate authenticity. This expansion dissolves obedience never by rebellion, but by embodiment of your own veracity and vigor. Why unrealized cowardice is nervous system inputs, emotional snapshots, body imprints, comfort zone programming, and ancestral survival mode programming. Cowardice is a somatic echo, never a moral failing. What we call cowardice often begins as a nervous system response of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Emotional snapshots from past experience imprint the body, shaping reactions before thought even kicks in. These reactions are never weakness; they're protective reflexes encoded by survival, never by choice. Comfort zones are neurological habits. The brain craves familiarity. It equates knowing with safe. Comfort zone programming reinforces avoidance of risk, discomfort, or emotional exposure. Unrealized cowardice is often just the body following its programming, never a lack of courage, just a lack of conscious override. Ancestral survival scripts still run the show. Our ancestors survived by being cautious, reactive, and hyper aware of danger. Those instincts are still wired into us, even when the threat is just public speaking or emotional vulnerability. What looks like cowardice today may be ancient software trying to protect us from lions that no longer exist. How's that in your life? That's been in my life. And one thing about admitting this, I get to rise, shine, and energize to enjoy today. Why cowardice, unrealized cowardice, is a somatic echo manipulating my life here and now from yesterday. Your body remembers what your mind rationalizes. Emotional experiences, especially fear, shame, or rejection, leave imprints in the nervous system that control us today. These imprints become reflexes, flinches, hesitations, or overreactions that feel like, just who am I? But they're echoes from yesterday, never veracity about today. Comfort zones are built from old survival data. How do you witness that in your life? I witnessed that in my life because I've really opened up to ask me, admit to me, to liberate me that my parents and my past still unknowingly control me today. But now that I'm opening up to this, I get to liberate me from me. What you avoid now may have once protected you. Social silence, emotional withdrawal, and overthinking. These patterns are never cowardice by choice. They're inherited scripts your body runs to stay safe. This danger is outdated, yet the programming persists. Unrealized cowardice is a loop, never a lack. It's not what you lack. It's not that you lack courage. It's that your system loops through old snapshots and emotional snapshots of fear, being scared, and unsavory events, rejection, and all that horse stuff. Until you consciously interrupt the loop, yesterday fears keeps writing today's decisions, choices, and your life. The awareness is the first act of bravery. Wiring begins when you name that echo. 7 ways why Rouse of Orneriness destroying unrealized cowardice. Orneriness disrupts passive inheritance. Your orneriness is never a rebellion for rebellion's sake. It's a refusal to silently carry ancestral fear, hesitation, emotional suppression, and programming. By challenging inherited scripts, you expose the cowardice that hides in compliance and awakens the courage buried beneath it. Defiance activates dormant sovereignty. It's okay to be defiantly different with a energized listening, maverick questions to liberate your life, to free you from you. See, that's what all this self-help, all that stuff is you're just liberating you from you. Unrealized cowardice often masquerades as politeness, patience, or keeping the peace. Your orneriness calls it out, shakes it up, and now places it with raw, sovereign honesty. It's the ignition of personal veracity that no longer waits for permission to speak. Boldness breaks the loop of emotional avoidance and emotional snapshots. Cowardice thrives in avoidance, avoiding conflict, depth, and transformation. Your orneriness is the emotional disruptor that says, I will never bypass this. It liberates you from inherited silence, invites others to confront what they've been too afraid to name. Why egotistical arrogance is unadmitted cowardice. Arrogance masks fear of vulnerability. Egotistical behavior often acts as armor, protecting certainty, superiority to avoid the discomfort of being seen, questioned, or emotionally exposed. Beneath the bravado lies a fear of being wrong, rejected, or emotionally penetrated. Control is a substitute for courage. Arrogance thrives on control of conversation, outcomes, and perceptions. Well, I was good at that one. Not anymore, because I listen now. But as authentic courage requires surrender, listening, and adapting, and asking maverick questions. As someone clings to dominant, it reveals an unwillingness to face the unknown or be broadcast or transformed by it. Inflated ego avoids inner reckoning. The louder the ego, the quieter the sovereign inquiry. Arrogance resists introspection because it fears what might be uncovered. Unhealed wounds, inherited insecurities, are emotional truths. Cowardice isn't the absence of strength, it's the refusal to look inward. How many have that? I used to. I used to think if I was doing it up here, I was doing good. I was lying to me. That's the thing. Stop lying to yourself. You can't lie to the world. You can only lie to yourself. So when you open up that vibrant veracity and ask yourself some maverick questions and hearken the wisdom that comes out of you, you'll rise, shine, and energize and expand through life with the greatest of ease. Why, know-it-all ignorance is unrealized cowardice. False certainty shields vulnerability. Know-it-alls often cling to rigid beliefs, never because they're confident, but because they fear being wrong. That was a big one for me. Oh my God, what a liberation this is. Admitting uncertainty requires courage. It opens the door to challenge expansion and liberation. Ignorance wrapped in arrogance is a defense mechanism. It's easier to pretend you know than to risk the discomfort of expanding your wisdom, insight, and clarity. Avoidance of intellectual risk. The true learning demands curiosity and humility, qualities that threaten the ego of know-it-all. By refusing to question or explore, they avoid the danger of discovering they were mistaken. This avoidance is cowardice in disguise, a refusal to confront the unknown or admit intellectual vulnerability. Fear of identity disruption. For some, knowledge becomes identity. To admit ignorance feels like erasing part of themselves. And that's the thing about it. When we start admitting we understand things, knowledge in our thinking and knowing and everything we learn becomes a limitation. So they double down, never out of wisdom, but out of fear, and that self image will collapse. The bravest minds are those willing to say, I don't understand or know, because they're never afraid of who they'll become when they do. And see, that's one thing fear and know-it-all is. If you're afraid of who you desire to become and who you really are. Why, ornery optimism destroys arrogant fear and stubborn thinking, knowing, and knowledge. Optimism challenges the illusion of control. Arrogant fear thrives on the illusion that certainty equals safety. Ornery optimism says, I never need guarantees. I'll move onward, upward, and forward anyway. The mindset disrupts rigid thinking by embracing uncertainty as fuel, not threat, never threat. Defiant hope now writes the rules. Defiant aspiration now writes the rules. Stubborn minds cling to old maps. Ornery optimism draws them in the here and now for your adventurous adventures. That refuses to be boxed in by what's always been true, forcing stagnant knowledge to evolve. Optimism is never naive, it's rebellious. It dares to imagine better even when fear insists this is all there is. How have you lived that in your life? I know I have. Courageous beliefs courageous candor outspaces defensive knowing. Arrogant fear hides behind facts to avoid risk. Ornery optimism risks being wrong to discover what's the pathway forward. Because there's no right or wrong in the world, there's just pathways of enlightenment. Different. Sometimes it's forward, sometimes it's sideways, but it's always a path of enlightenment. It's never about having all the answers. It's about having the guts to ask for better. To ask better questions. Maverick questions liberate you. That courage dismantles brittle certainty and replaces it with resilient, colorful curiosity. Why loud, tough talk is unrealized cowardice. You know, the guy saying, I can do this, I can do that, now I'm going to do this to you, and that's just unrealized cowardice. Volume is our armor for insecurity. Loudness is never strength. It's camouflage. When someone shouts their toughness, they're often drowning out their inner doubt and all their fears. Authentic courage speaks quietly because it never needs to prove itself. Aggression avoids vulnerability. Tough talk is a wall. It deflects questions, emotions, and introspection. Hiding behind the bravado is a refusal to face fear honestly, to witness and hearken to wisdom, insight, clarity, and the courage to rise, shine, and energize your life. Cowardice is never the absence of action. It's the avoidance of emotional risk. How do we use cowardice or fear or something to avoid emotional risk? I know I have. And that was a very awakening. See, we're never afraid of anything. We're afraid of the emotional risk and the trend-setting tenacity to move our life forward. Performance over substance. Loud talkers perform strength instead of embodying it. The fear being seen as weak, so they act strong, louder, harsher, and more dominant, yet they're trembling like a duck's feet underwater. As authentic strength is silent resilience, never theatrical defiance. While admitting to me I encompass unrealized cowardice, energetically liberates me. That's what these podcasts are about. I am actually liberating myself, liberating the world. So why admitting to me I encompass unrealized cowardice energetically liberates me? It releases trapped emotional energy, emotional snapshots, and my hidden body control. Suppressed fear never vanishes. It lodges in the body, creating tension, fatigue, and emotional static. That it does. I can attest to that. Admitting cowardice is like clogging a drain. It allows the stuck energy to flow freely again. So now I begin, now I won. This release restores vitality, clarity, and emotional bandwidth for courage to emerge, unleashing my soul's urgency. It never transforms shame into power. Unrealized cowardice often hides behind shame, guilt, or denial. Energetic blocks that dim your inner light. Owning it flips the script and claims the energy used to hide and redirect it towards moving onward, upward, and forward. The moment you name your fear, you stop feeding it and start fueling your innovation and your liberation, and you're broadcasting your way of life. It aligns you with authentic momentum and your Mustang Moxie to ride hell bent for election to your desired lifestyle. Pretending to be fearless creates energetic dissonance. Your actions and your veracity never match. Admitting cowardice brings coherence. Your nervous system, emotions, and intentions sync up to rise like the morning sun. That alignment generates here and now momentum because you're no longer resisting yourself. You're moving with yourself through life with ease. Why embodying my colorful curiosity, autonomous audacity, adventurer's ardor destroys my unrealized cowardice, opens my trailblazer wisdom, insight, clarity, showing me my trendsetter brilliance. Curiosity now writes fear's script. Colorful curiosity is never passive. It's bold. It's a bold invitation to explore what fear tries to hide. As you embody it, you shift from what if I fail to what I'm going to discover to rise, shine, and energize me. This framing dissolves cowardice by by replacing avoidance with a wanderer's optimism, turning hesitation into momentum. Audacity activates inner sovereignty. Autonomous audacity means you trust your inner compass more than external approval or inherited fear. It's the energetic declaration: I choose my path of enlightenment to travel up my trails of triumph. That chauffeurs me down to my beaches of bountiful bliss. Even because I traveled the uncharted pathways of the world. As my sovereign-led courage dismantles cowardice by refusing to outsource my power to past programming. Adventure's ardor illuminates the trail of ardor, my trail of triumph. Ardor is passion with purpose. It burns through doubt and lights the way forward to my beaches and seashores of stunning success. As you embody it, your nervous system aligns with your vision, never with your history. Insight, clarity, and brilliance emerge never because fear disappears, but because you've chosen to walk through it, lit by your own fire of desire to chauffeur you through life. Why admitting to me I encompass cowardice makes me a hero to me, energetically liberating me. Radical honesty is heroic alchemy. Most people run from their fear. You face it head on. Admitting cowardice isn't weakness, it's the first act of inner heroism. Your truth telling broadcasts emotional weight into energetic freedom, turning shame into strength, destroying guilt and blame. Sovereign appreciation unlocks hidden courage. When you stop pretending to be fearless, you stop wasting energy on the performance. That claimed energy fuels real bravery, the kind that moves even when trembling. As you become your own liberator, stop being no longer bound by denial or self-judgment. Owning your fear makes you the trailblazer. Heroes are never fearless. They're aware, awake, and willing to walk into the fire of life with a feeling of internal revolutionary energy, expanding through life with ease. By admitting cowardice, you clear the fog and you see your path with clarity. These insights is your brilliance, the courage to walk with your veracity, never someone else's illusion. As you liberate yourself, you liberate the world, because everything you liberate within you and you show the world, you're going to liberate somebody else as you liberate you. I am Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity, and I want to thank you for being here, and we'll see you Thursday night. Thursday night's podcast is 7 Ways Why I Realized I Inherited Trauma and Drama. Thank you and good night.